Have you ever stopped to wonder why certain people take up permanent residence in your thoughts? Why, despite the passing of time, despite the lack of communication, despite every logical reason telling you to move on, that one person still lingers in your mind like an unshakable echo? It's not random, it's not meaningless, and it's certainly not something you can ignore, because your mind is a mirror of your heart, and whatever is dominating your thoughts is a direct reflection of what's happening deep inside you. Your thoughts are the rawest form of truth. You can lie to the world, you can even lie to yourself. You can tell yourself, I don't care, I've moved on, or it doesn't matter anymore. But if this person still lives in your head, the reality is clear. There is something unresolved within you. Think about it, your brain doesn't waste energy on things that don't matter. It's wired for efficiency, survival, and forward motion. It's designed to discard useless information, to forget what's no longer relevant, and to filter out what doesn't serve you. And yet, despite all that, this person remains. Why? Because emotions don't follow logic. The heart doesn't operate on reason. It doesn't care how much time has passed, how much distance exists, or how much you try to suppress it. If something is left unfinished in your heart, your mind will keep bringing it back until you face it. The mind is powerful, but the heart is the true driver of your existence. Every thought that recurs, every memory that resurfaces, every daydream that pulls you back to them, it's not a coincidence, it's a message. Your subconscious is speaking to you. It's telling you that there is something here that you haven't fully processed, something you haven't fully understood, something you haven't fully healed. Maybe it's love that was never expressed. Maybe it's a connection that was severed before its time. Maybe it's regret over things left unsaid, or pain over things that were said but never forgiven. Maybe it's longing. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's hope. Whatever it is, it's unfinished. And until you face it, it will continue to haunt you. We like to believe that we can shut off our emotions, that we can bury feelings and move forward as if they never existed. But the truth is, emotions don't die. They don't just disappear because you decide to ignore them. Instead, they manifest in different ways. Through anxiety, through restlessness, through sleepless nights, through a lingering sadness that you can't quite explain. Your mind is reflecting back what your heart refuses to acknowledge. And here's something important to understand. Ignoring these thoughts doesn't mean you're strong. Strength isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about having the courage to confront them. It's about asking yourself the hard questions. Why is this person still on my mind? What unresolved emotions am I carrying? What lesson is my heart trying to teach me? Am I avoiding closure because I'm afraid of what it means? The mind and heart work together. Your thoughts are the clues that lead you to your truth. And when someone keeps appearing in your thoughts, it's not just nostalgia or wishful thinking, it's an invitation to look deeper. It's a call to understand yourself better. It's a sign that something within you is asking to be acknowledged, processed, and ultimately set free. Many people choose to live in denial. They convince themselves that thoughts of this person are meaningless, that it's just a habit, that it's just loneliness playing tricks on them. But deep down, they know the truth. Because the thoughts don't stop, the feelings don't fade, and the mind doesn't let go until the heart does. So, if someone is constantly in your mind without any communication, don't dismiss it. Don't brush it off as coincidence. Instead, see it for what it really is. A reflection of your deepest emotions, a message from your soul, a sign that there is something within you that still needs to be understood. Your mind is not your enemy, it's your guide. It's showing you the parts of yourself that still need attention. It's revealing the unfinished stories in your heart. It's pushing you toward resolution, toward clarity, toward healing. But that only happens when you stop running from the truth and start listening to what your thoughts are really trying to tell you. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something? An unspoken tension, a warmth, a heaviness, a connection? Have you ever met someone and within moments felt like you had known them forever? Or on the flip side, have you ever encountered someone who said all the right things, wore the perfect mask, but deep down, something just didn't feel right? That's energy. And energy doesn't lie. Long before words are spoken, long before actions take place, energy sets the stage. It's the invisible force that shapes our interactions, that determines the depth of our relationships, that pulls us towards certain people and pushes us away from others. It's more powerful than logic, stronger than reason, and impossible to fake. You can't manipulate energy. You can't disguise it with empty words or mask it with surface-level gestures. It is what it is. And whether you acknowledge it or not, it's always speaking to you. So what does it mean when someone is constantly in your mind without any communication? It means there's an energetic thread that still exists between you and that person. It means that even in silence, something is still being exchanged. It means that on a level deeper than words, you are still connected. You see, we've been taught to believe that communication only happens through talking, through texting, through direct interaction. But that's not true. Communication exists in many forms. It exists in the way you think about someone at the exact moment they reach out to you. It exists in the way you can feel a person's presence even when they're not physically there. It exists in the way you can sense when someone is upset, when someone is thinking about you, when someone is holding on just as much as you are. This is not imagination. This is energy at work. Everything in this world is energy. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, every memory you replay in your mind, it all carries a vibration. And when someone lingers in your thoughts, it's because there's still an energetic charge attached to them. That charge may come from unresolved emotions, from unfinished business, from a deep connection that refuses to fade, or from something even greater, something beyond what logic can explain. Have you ever noticed how thinking about someone intensely can sometimes make them reach out, seemingly out of nowhere? Or how you randomly remember a person only to find out they've been thinking about you too? That's not a coincidence. That's energy in motion, because energy travels. It moves between people regardless of time, distance, or circumstance. It transcends words. It doesn't need permission. It simply is. And when you share a strong energetic connection with someone, that connection doesn't just disappear because communication stops. Silence does not equal detachment. If anything, silence can amplify energy. It can make the connection even stronger, more undeniable. Some people call this intuition, some call it soul ties, some call it an unbreakable bond, but whatever name you give it, the truth remains the same. If someone is in your mind without any communication, there is still something happening beneath the surface. There is still a cord that connects you, an invisible thread that neither of you have fully cut, whether consciously. And here's the thing, energy is neutral. It doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't decide what's right or wrong, good or bad. It simply reflects what exists. If you're still thinking about someone, there's a reason. That reason may be love, it may be pain, it may be regret, or it may be something you haven't even fully uncovered yet. But whatever it is, it's real. And the strongest proof of this, the way you feel when that person enters your mind. Pay attention. Does it bring you peace or does it stir up chaos? Does it feel like longing or does it feel like closure trying to happen? Does it make you feel energized or does it drain you? Because energy doesn't lie, but it does communicate. It tells you where you are emotionally. It shows you what still has power over you. It reveals whether you're holding on to something that feeds you or something that depletes you. And whether or not you listen to it will determine whether you stay stuck in cycles of the past or move forward into something new. Have you ever felt stuck in a mental loop, replaying the same thoughts about someone over and over again? Have you ever wondered why, despite your best efforts, you just can't seem to stop thinking about them? It can feel like your mind is working against you, like you're trapped in an endless cycle of what-ifs and maybes, constantly searching for answers that never seem to come. But here's the truth. The real problem isn't that this person is in your mind. The real problem is that you don't have clarity about why they're there. And clarity is power. Think about it. The human brain is a problem-solving machine. It's designed to seek resolution, to close loops, to bring things to a place of understanding. When something is left unfinished, whether it's a conversation, a relationship, or even just an unspoken feeling, your brain doesn't simply forget about it. It keeps searching for closure. It keeps trying to make sense of what happened. It keeps holding on, not necessarily because it wants to, but because it hasn't yet found a way to let go. That's why clarity is so important, because until you understand the reason why someone is occupying space in your mind, you can't move forward. You'll stay stuck in the uncertainty, in the confusion, in the constant back and forth of wondering what it all means. So how do you get clarity? How do you take control of the thoughts that seem to control you? First, you have to ask yourself the right questions. You can't just sit in frustration hoping the thoughts will disappear on their own. You have to go deeper. You have to investigate. You have to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. Start by asking yourself, is this person in my mind because I truly miss them, or am I just missing a version of them that no longer exists? Do I still have feelings for them, or am I just attached to the idea of what we could have been? Am I thinking about them because I need closure, or because I'm avoiding the pain of letting go? Is this connection still serving me, or is it keeping me stuck in the past? The answers to these questions will give you clarity, and clarity is what gives you power, because once you understand why this person is still in your thoughts, you can finally do something about it. Maybe you realize that you truly care about them and need to reach out. Maybe you realize that you're only holding on because you're afraid of moving forward. Maybe you realize that it's time to release the attachment and free yourself from a cycle that no longer serves you. Whatever the answer is, it's better than staying in the fog of confusion, because confusion drains you. It keeps you in a state of emotional limbo, constantly looking for answers, but never finding them. And the longer you stay in that place, the more powerless you feel. But when you gain clarity, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not just reacting to your thoughts, you're directing them. You're not just stuck in a loop, you're making decisions. You're not just wondering why this person is in your mind, you're taking action to either embrace the connection or release it. And that's the key. Because clarity isn't just about understanding. It's about empowerment. It's about breaking free from the cycle of overthinking and stepping into a place of certainty. It's about moving from a passive state where you feel like you have no control into an active state where you decide what happens next. Without clarity, your thoughts will continue to control you. With clarity, you take back that control. And that's where real freedom begins. Thinking about someone constantly without communication can feel like a prison. Your mind circles around them, replaying memories, imagining scenarios, questioning the past, and wondering about the future. It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and yet no matter how much time passes, the thoughts don't seem to fade. But here's the truth. Staying stuck in this cycle is a choice. Maybe not a conscious one, but a choice nonetheless, because at some point, after all the overthinking, after all the replayed moments, after all the mental back and forth, there comes a moment when you have to decide, am I going to keep living in my head, or am I going to take action? That's the only way forward, action, because thinking alone changes nothing. Wishing changes nothing. Hoping changes nothing. You either do something about the thoughts that won't leave you alone, or you accept that you're choosing to stay stuck. But taking action doesn't necessarily mean running back to this person. It doesn't mean rekindling something that should stay in the past. It doesn't mean making a reckless decision based on temporary emotions. Taking action means making a choice, one that finally gives you clarity, peace, and control over your own mind. So what are your choices? Reach out and get your answer. If this person is still in your mind because you feel there's something unfinished, the simplest solution may be to reach out, not with a desperate text, not with a dramatic gesture, but with a direct and honest conversation. Ask yourself, am I holding back because of pride or fear? Do I need closure, or do I need to explore whether there's still something real here? Am I assuming what they think or feel without actually knowing? Sometimes a simple conversation can clear up years of confusion. You might find that they've been thinking about you too. Or you might realize that the connection you thought was still alive has already faded for them. Either way, you'll have your answer. And that answer will set you free, because even if it's not the one you wanted, it will at least give you clarity instead of endless uncertainty. 2, make a conscious decision to let go. Maybe reaching out isn't an option. Maybe the relationship is over, the door is closed, and there's nothing left to say. But if that's the case, then why are they still living in your head? The answer is simple: because you haven't truly let go. Letting go isn't just about time passing. It's not just about distraction. It's about making a deliberate choice to release the emotional weight that's keeping you stuck. It means accepting that the past cannot be changed. It means deciding that your peace of mind is more important than holding on to something that no longer serves you. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean erasing what you felt. It simply means choosing yourself over the pain of the past. And how do you do that? Stop feeding the thoughts. Every time you indulge in old memories or what-if scenarios, you strengthen the attachment. Remove triggers that keep pulling you back. Old messages, saved photos, social media stalking. Shift your focus. The more you dwell on what was, the less energy you have for what could be. Letting go is an action, not just a feeling. It's a process, a decision you make every single day until one day you realize you're free. 3, directify. What this connection means to you. Maybe this person isn't meant to be removed from your life entirely. Maybe they're in your mind because they played a significant role in shaping who you are. If that's the case, then instead of fighting the thoughts, change your relationship with them. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay in it forever. Some people are there to teach you, to help you grow, to challenge you in ways that ultimately make you stronger. And if you're still thinking about someone, maybe it's because they left an imprint on your soul, not necessarily because you need them back, but because their presence helped shape your journey. So instead of resisting it, embrace it in a new way. Allow yourself to feel gratitude instead of longing. Recognize their impact without attaching pain to it. Accept that just because something ended doesn't mean it wasn't meaningful. This shift in perspective can be powerful. It allows you to honor the past without being controlled by it. It gives you the ability to look back with appreciation rather than sadness. And most importantly, it helps you move forward without carrying unnecessary emotional baggage. 4, create something new to focus on. One of the biggest reasons people stay trapped in thoughts about someone is because they haven't given themselves anything new to focus on. When your mind isn't engaged with something exciting, meaningful, or fulfilling, it naturally drifts back to the past. So what's the solution? Create something new. A new goal, a new challenge, a new version of yourself that requires your full attention. Pour yourself into a project that excites you. Set personal goals that push you forward. Surround yourself with new people, new experiences, new environments. The more you invest in your future, the less power your past will have over you. The more energy you give to growth, the less energy you'll have for dwelling on something that no longer exists. And that's what this all comes down to. Energy. Where you direct your focus is where your energy flows. If all your energy is going towards someone who isn't even in your life anymore, that's energy being wasted. But if you take that same energy and channel it into building something new, you'll see just how quickly your mind can shift. So after all the thinking, all the wondering, all the questioning, what will you do? Will you reach out? Will you finally let go? Will you redefine this connection? Or will you step into something new? The thoughts won't stop until you decide. And the only way forward is action.